Howdy y'all, and welcome back to another Nightcore store headlamp overview. My name is Josh, and today let's take a look at the newest from Nightcore, the HC65 UHE, meaning ultra high efficiency. I promise y'all that I am not exaggerating whenever I say that this is probably the best headlamp to come out of Nightcore since the NU43, and in fact I dare say it's a little bit better. And if you like the original HC65 version 2, man, y'all are not ready for this. So please make sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel and it'll help you stay up to date on everything Nightcore, EDC, and flashlight. And now let's go ahead and check out this awesome new headlamp. Included with your purchase of the HC65 UHE is of course going to be the HC65 UHE, and then it's also going to come with its own carrying / storage case, and then as well as that it's going to have a pre-installed Nightcore 18650 rechargeable lithium ion battery, which is going to be the NL1840HP 4000 milliamp version. As well as that, there's going to be a Nightcore branded USB-C to USB-C charger. You can see that little Nightcore branding right there. And then it's also going to have the top strap as well. And then for this overview, I'm going to take it off the bracket so that way I can show it to y'all just a little bit easier. All right, now let's take a look at that. Wow, it's such a cool looking headlamp. Anyway, at the front here, we're going to have a UHE, meaning again, ultra high efficiency LEDs with a cool 6000 Kelvin color temperature. And then both right here and right here, you will see two LEDs that are responsible for outputting red light and high CRI or high contrast light. And then on top of the headlamp here, you can see that this has a 2-button UI, both the mode button and the power button. They're going to be textured differently, so that way there is no question which one you are pressing. And then by single pressing the mode button, you can activate, oh look at that, that's going to be the power indicator right there, so that way you don't have to unscrew it to tell what it is, unlike the old HC65 version 2. Having that right there is so simple and it's so sleek and cool. I love it. I'm gonna have to reattach this to the headband to show y'all this real quick, but all of this little ridging right here is going to allow this to have a 180-degree tilt angle. You can see it works in tandem with that tooth right there. And then with the headlamp on, you can swivel it all the way up or all the way down, and it'll make that very satisfying ratcheting noise, and it'll stay in place. It's very solid. If I were to give it a good shake here, it is very solid. Once it's adjusted, it's not going anywhere until you move it again. And then to give y'all a look here at the headband, this is going to be the signature Nightcore reflective headband. It's going to have all these little perforations to make it very breathable, and then a little clear silicone line here to grip onto your skin. Is going to be very comfortable. It's probably one of my favorite headband styles out there on the market right now, and it's going to be adjustable back here in 2 ways as well. And when I was unboxing this, you might have realized that the top strap was separate from this, and that's because this is an all new bracket system that allows the top strap to be strung in like this. This top strap is going to be perforated like the main headband, and again, I like the fact that you can take it on and off for whatever job you need it for. And one of my favorite features is the fact that there's a USB-C flap now that is going to be under rubber, meaning that it's super easy to get to, and the fact that this cap is going to be removable, meaning that you can get to the battery pretty easily as well. So you have multiple ways to charge, and if you're ever out camping, you can bring spare batteries in order to make sure that your headlamp does not leave you out in the dark. And now let's compare the UHE version to the version 2 of the HC65. First off, in terms of outputs, the UHE is going to have 2000 lumens and 242 yards of throw, whereas the version 2 is going to have 1750 lumens with 180 yards of throw. The UHE is also going to be slightly lighter at 5.36 ounces, whereas the version 2 is going to be a little bit heavier at 5.8 ounces. Throwing up the run times on screen here, you can see that the UHE is going to be far more efficient, I wonder why that is, as compared to the version 2. Also, in my opinion, I find that the top band for the UHE is going to be easier to remove, and I find the bracket much better as the light is going to be removable and it's going to be a plastic ratcheting system as opposed to this rubberized friction version where you have to move it kind of against the rubber. And you can see here that it's kind of hard to adjust and get it just right. And again, friction isn't going to be my favorite for keeping my headband secure. Also, the UI is going to be fixed as this is going to have more modes and a 2-button operation as compared to the 1-button operation of the version 2. And then looking at both of the battery contact points, this one's the UHE, this is the version 2. I like the UHE one a little bit more because this spring is going to have a little bit more spring to it and a little bit more surface area to maintain a stable connection. However, I can understand if some people would like the double spring connection of the version 2 a little bit better, but this is just a difference I wanted to point out. Also, between these two headbands, it is much easier to get to the USB-C port on the UHE as it's just a rubber flap here. And then I'm not even going to bother with the version 2 as I have to fully unscrew this. And then you will see the USB-C port right here embedded in the screw, which is definitely not my favorite. The UHE is also going to have better battery indication as it's going to be built into the side right here. And then by single pressing the mode button, you can see it light up right here. Whereas for the HC65 version 2, I know that I said I wouldn't fool with the USB-C, but I'm really not going to fool with the battery indication. That's a lie, I am. You have to unscrew this all the way and break the connection between the springs and the battery, and then screw it back on. Go. It will flash in order to indicate the battery, and it will show it in voltage rather than a percent. And so I'm gonna have to give that point squarely to the UHE because man, that is hard to tell how much juice is left in this one. And then the last difference I wanna bring to y'all's attention outside of the headbands, I mean, I like this one better because of the perforations, but some people like this old style. It's pretty subjective. It's going to be how symmetrical each light is. If I were to turn on the red light over here, you can see that there's going to be one on either side so you get an even red light. However, if I were to turn the red light on over here, you're only going to be getting it from the right side. And so I like this one a little bit better because it's going to be symmetrical. And now for my personal thoughts on the HC65 UHE. First off, just going by the numbers, 1300 lumens for 5 hours is going to be impressive no matter what headlamp it is, and especially coming from that wide flood beam that I really enjoy. It's just a joy to use and it's super reliable across all the times that I've used it so far. Another thing I really like about this headlamp is going to be the upgrade 2-button UI, as it's going to be much smoother to operate and it feels a lot like the NU40, 43, and 50. And because of the new UI, you're able to effortlessly and instantly go to any output that you want. And so if I want to go to red light, you just hold the mode button. If you want to go to high CRI, double click the power button. And then if you want to go to your normal output, you just hold the power button all the same. And so I have instant access to all my modes and it's pretty easy to memorize. I mean, I picked up the operation in just around 1 hour while I was writing the script, and it's just way more smooth than the previous HC65 version 2. And so I just can't get enough of it. And I know in the previous segment I compared this to the version 2, but I cannot stop saying how much I love this one as compared to the version 2, even down to the beam shape. Again, this is my personal preference, but I love the floody beam shape on this, especially with the boosted lumens, so that way I can just have this dome of light around me, and no matter what angle I look, it's just covering my field of vision with light. Now I do have 2 bits of criticism for this headlamp, but they're both a little bit of a reach, so hear me out here. Now first off, if you were to have the top headband connected to the main headband and you were to swivel the head all the way up, there's a chance the power button would hit the plastic stopper on the top headband, and that could either change the brightness setting or turn the headlamp on or off, which is not amazing. I wish that it was more flush to the bracket. And then the other thing is, because this headlamp is going to be putting out such ridiculously high lumens, if you were to keep this on the higher, high, or turbo setting, it is going to get a little bit hot. However, I find the way that the heat is concentrated kind of interesting because it's all going to be on the bottom. However, the top stays pretty cool. And so if you were to be adjusting your headlamp, I would suggest maybe holding it on this end of the battery casing over here and then pressing it rather than holding it down here, because again, the bottom will get pretty hot. And that is going to be all my thoughts on the HC65 UHE. As you can probably tell, I do not think that the negatives outweigh the positives in any way whatsoever. You're going to be getting an amazing headlamp that's going to be pretty lightweight, very, very powerful, and very compact as well as very versatile. And while the price is going to be a little bit steeper, you definitely get a lot of bang for your buck. However, these are just going to be my thoughts on this headlamp. If you have anything to contribute to this conversation or any questions, please make sure to comment down below. I'd love to answer questions and just talk to y'all about this awesome headlamp. And now let's talk specs. First of all, the SOS and beacon are both going to be at 1300 lumens, which is very nice because I like having a bright SOS and beacon. The slow flashing red light is going to be at 15 lumens. The low red light is going to be at 5 lumens, which is going to be going for 66 hours. And then the high red light is going to be at 15 lumens for 37 hours. The ultra low high CRI is going to be at 8 lumens for 82 hours. The low CRI is going to be at 40 lumens for 40 hours. The medium white light is going to have 100 lumens of brightness for 31 hours. The high is going to have 400 lumens for 14 hours. The higher is going to have 1300 lumens for 5 hours. And then the turbo is going to have 2000 lumens for 2 hours. And then with the bracket included, the dimensions are going to be 3.52 inches by 1.66 inches by 1.81 inches. And then looking at the weight, if you were to include the bracket, the headband, and the battery, it's going to be weighing in at 5.36 ounces. However, if you were to take the battery out of that equation, it's going to be weighing in at 3.63 ounces. And now let's talk operation of the HC65 UHE. It's going to be very similar to both the NU40, NU43, and NU50. So you can start by long pressing the power button until it turns on, and you will start in your medium output, which is a little bit weird, but bear with me. And then by pressing it again, you will go up to your high, and then higher, and then by short pressing it one more time, you will return to your medium output. And then at any point while the light is on, you can double press the power button and you will enter your turbo output. And so now you might be asking, where's the ultra low and low outputs if we start in medium for the white light? Well, the ultra low and low are actually going to be on the high CRI outputs. And there's going to be two ways that you can get to the high CRI, ultra low and low outputs. First off, while the light is off, you can double press the power button and then you will enter into your ultra low high CRI output. And then by single pressing it, you will get to your low. And then by pressing it again, you will return to your ultra low. And then the other way to get to it is to enter your main modes. So go to your medium by holding the power button, and then by pressing the mode, you will go to your ultra low, and then press it one more time, and then you will go to low, and then pressing the power button one more time will return you to ultra low. And then like I showed before, this headlamp has a red light, and there's going to be two ways to get to it. First off, with the headlamp off, you can hold the mode button, and it will take you into low red light mode. By pressing the power button, it'll take you to the high red light mode, and then by pressing it one more time, you will flash your red light, and then by pressing it one more time, it'll return you to the low red light. You can also access the red light by turning on your light into its main mode, and so now I have it in the medium white light, and then by pressing mode, I will enter my CRI, and then by pressing mode one more time, I will enter my low red light, and then I can cycle them just the same as I did before. And then lastly, to access your SOS and beacon while the light is off or on, you can double press the mode and it'll enter into SOS. By pressing the power button once, you will enter into beacon. And then by pressing it one more time, you will return to your SOS. And like I said before, it doesn't matter if the headlamp is off or on. Anytime that you double press the mode button, it's going to enter you into SOS. And then by pressing the mode button, it'll turn you over to beacon. And if you're ever going to travel with this headlamp and you don't want it to lose charge or get turned on in your backpack, you can hold both the mode and the power button together, and it will flash after a couple seconds, letting you know that it is locked out. And so even if you were to hold one of these buttons or double press it, it's going to stay locked out and it will flash to show you. However, the moment that you hold them both again for a couple of seconds, it'll return you to the ultra low, and now it is not locked out anymore. And while that was a mouthful, I have a graphic on screen to help. And I actually find the operation to be deceptively easy as I got it under my fingers in around an hour. especially considering that this does not have mode memory. The cycling between each of the brightness levels are always going to be set. Like in the main modes, it's always going to be 3 because there's no mode memory. And so I think that this is actually pretty easy to operate, especially considering all the modes and all the variety that's packed into this headlamp. And then something else of note is this headlamp is going to be great for keeping in your car, keeping in a power outage kit or anything like that, because it will charge up in 2 hours. So like, let's say you have a winter storm coming, you can plug it in and it will begin charging immediately. You can see those little indicator lights turning on, and it'll be ready to go in 2 hours, fully charged in 2 hours, and it'll have a standby time of up to 1 year, which is going to be amazing for preparedness kits, bug out bags, anything that you need a headlamp for. All right, y'all, well, sadly, that's going to be about all I have to say on this new headlamp. I hope y'all can understand now why I am so excited for this new headlamp to release and to hear your thoughts on it. So if you have any thoughts, make sure to comment them down below. I'd love to hear them. So as always, thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and giving this video a like, and we will see y'all in the next one.